things appear to be very, very serious. But at this time, that's really all the information that I have on it, just to say that we are extremely concerned and we are following it closely.
Well, WikiLeaks out with document dumps, some 8,000 documents that detail CIA efforts to spy. Among the programs, according to the New York Times and others, we've seen some of these documents. Another program described in the documents is called Umbrage, is a voluminous library of cyber attack techniques that the CIA has collected from malware produced by other countries, including Russia. According to the WikiLeaks release, the large number of techniques allows the CIA to mask the origin of some of its cyber attacks and confuse forensic investigators. Edward Snowden, who has been quiet lately, tweeted out today, "What makes this look real? Program and office names such as JOJ, IOC, Crypt series are real. Only a cleared insider could know them." He goes on. Bottom line, the U.S. intelligence community is in an uproar tonight and looking for a leaker. Let's bring in our panel. Michael Needham is Chief Executive Officer at Heritage Action for America. A.B. Stoddard, Associate Editor at Real Clear Politics, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. You know, Michael, we have seen this before about WikiLeaks document dumps, but boy, this looks very detailed, and everything we're hearing from the intelligence community is it's authentic.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. It may mean that we have another Edward Snowden inside our intelligence agencies, and that's something that should be very concerning to all Americans. It's not surprising that there's lots of intelligence programs out there that we don't know about. That's a good thing. I think what's most concerning is that if WikiLeaks can get access to some of this information, what do the Russians know? What do the Chinese know? And what does that mean for the effectiveness of some of these important programs?
A.B., you saw Devin Nunes, the House Intelligence Committee chair, not talk a lot about it, but also in here are ways that the CIA can make smart TVs and smartphones spy tools. You know, cars, computerized cars, have access to them.
It's frightening, chilling stuff. Obviously the kind of technology that we want to spy on other countries. But it sparks a debate every time there are revelations like this, even those that have been far less dramatic about what could happen here and what could happen to our own privacy in the country. It really is staggering how much the Snowden revelations and these types of revelations set us back in terms of revealing our sources and methods, set us back with our adversaries and our work in intelligence around the world. And with so much, we lose 10, 15 years of work at a time, an incredible amount of resources. And Charles, obviously Trump supporters, their eyes perked up when they saw the cloaking of hacks that could be blamed on Russia that were really internal, and obviously people saying, what does that all mean? But bottom line, it's a serious breach.
Look, I can see how it can open up a hall of mirrors about the cloaking and disguising the so-called attacks on our democratic system. But the real story is, I think that this is worse than Snowden. It's one thing to disclose names and places and even operations, but once you're describing the sources and methods, that's the key to what we do. And you've got to wonder, all the energy that we spend on the vetting of, I don't know, Yemeni nationals trying to get into the country, ought we not be spending a bit more of our time and effort on the vetting of contractors? Snowden was a contractor for NSA. Presumably this person who's leaking, or persons, were contractors for CIA. This, I think, is our greatest weakness. A.B. is right. We could have lost a decade of this. But I will commend the CIA for one thing, their creativity in code names. Umbrage is a beauty.
And we should point out that U.S. intelligence officials tell our own James Rosen that they had a lot of very high-tech security measures that they're trying to figure out how that was all breached at this moment tonight. Let's take a listen to Sean Spicer answering a question about the president's talk about wiretapping today.
If he's sitting on this information that he found out, he's now directing or asking or recommending that the intelligence committees look into this. And you talked about they have resources and staff, which they do. Right. But why expend those resources and staff if the president found out this information and hasn't?
I think there's a difference between directing the Department of Justice, which may be involved in an ongoing investigation, and asking Congress as a separate body to look into something and add credibility to the look, adds adds an element that wouldn't necessarily be there if we were directing the Department of Justice, for example.
Michael, your thoughts on this as we continue to kind of get the reverberations from the weekend tweets?
Right. Well, the whole wiretapping story depends on what the truth is, and that's why I think it is prudent to have the investigation to get the facts out there. Obviously, if the relationship between the president and Russia is anything near what the left alleges, that would be horribly concerning. I think it seems somewhat fantastical. On the other hand, and I think part of the reason the president and so many others are getting as angry about this situation as they are is it is also extremely concerning if there's a constant drip, drip, drip out of the intelligence community of information used to undermine a president that they don't like, to undermine other political leaders that they don't like. And that's not what America should be about. And so I think it's important for us to get the facts. The facts will tell us what's going on here and what's at fault, and that's why I think that some sort of investigation is important.
Let's stipulate that perhaps the president, even though he tweeted it directly about President Obama, was saying the Obama administration. Let's just stipulate that as for conversation. Here is Devin Nunes talking about those tweets.
The president is a neophyte to politics. He's been doing this a little over a year. And I think a lot of the things that he says, you guys sometimes take literally. Sometimes he doesn't have 27 lawyers and staff looking at what he does, which is, I think, at times refreshing, and at times can also lead us to have to be sitting at a press conference like this answering questions that you guys are asking.
But they are words, and words matter when they come from the Oval Office.
You know, if they don't matter for the commander-in-chief, then I don't know what will. Devin Nunes is a respected member. It must have been a tough day for him to tell the media that we shouldn't take the words of the leader of the free world literally. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's a reckless claim. The Republicans know it. Even if it was true, you don't make it on Twitter. You don't make accusations like that or observations like that. He could have talked to the FBI. He didn't.
Where do you think this goes, Charles?
I think it goes nowhere. I think this is chasing our tails. This is going down a rabbit hole. And if I were looking for something beyond anger to explain the president having tweeted this, anger at his staff, anger at the situation, it would be that this is a guy who has said all along, I don't attack, I counterattack. When he was a businessman and he was sued, what did he do? He would countersue. You muddy it up, you end up in endless litigation, and then it disappears. I think he thinks, and it probably is true, this is going to end up as part of the Russian investigation. There is no evidence that any of this happened, the wiretap. On the other hand, there is no evidence yet that there was any attempt or collusion of the Trump campaign with the Russians. So we have a double investigation with no evidence. This, I think, we're going to look back on a year from now and think, what the hell were we doing?
Final thing, Lindsey Graham, one of the president during the campaign's biggest opponents, senator from South Carolina, was at the White House today, and he had lunch with the president, said, I had a great lunch meeting with President Trump today. He is strongly committed to rebuilding our military, which is music to my ears. President Trump is in deal-making mode, and I hope Congress is like-minded. How good was the meeting? I gave him my new cell phone number. You'll remember he gave him... Candidate Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's cell phone number in the campaign.